Well, ready to go on this Breeders' Cup Saturday, and a happy Breeders' Cup to everybody out there. We hope it's profitable for you as Ron Nicoletti and Jason Blewett join you a little earlier than usual. About 11:15 a.m., we just watched Audible, in fact, win the second out of Churchill Downs.
Really nice performance. Both you and I had him beaten when they were turning for home. He was incredible. He turned home 7 wide and won it. So we'll be seeing him here in the winter, I would imagine.
And needless to say, well, of course, the Pegasus. I mean, he loves this track here at Gulfstream Park. You would think if he's in training come late January, he's about 1-5 or 1-9 to be in the Pegasus for 2019. And thus far, things are going pretty well for WinStar Farm and trainer Todd Pletcher and Hall of Fame rider Javier Castellano. Not only the win with Audible, but yesterday afternoon, it was the last out Gulfstream Stakes winner in Bulletin, winning the first ever Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Here's Larry Kalmus to take us home.
They're into the stretch. Chelsea Cloisters on the outside of Bulletin. The two of them battle it out coming to the final furlong. Soldier's Call is next, and then comes Strike Silver on the outside. Running in fourth in the back of the pack, Queen of Bermuda. But it is still Bulletin. Bulletin battles on after that fast beginning and keeps on going. Chelsea Cloisters will beat him. Bulletin is a Breeders' Cup winner.
A perfect 2 for 2, this colt by the late City Zip. There's a picture of him winning his September 29th career debut late in the summer meet at Gulfstream Park over in Hallandale. What can you say? We are very proud of our year-round racing program in South Florida at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I mean, Bulletin was incredible. That's that second career start, so 2 for 2 reminds me a little bit of, how do these horses do this nowadays? Debut, wins a stake, comes right back, wins the Breeders' Cup. It's fantastic, and we'll get to see him all winter long, which is great.
It seemed like there weren't, taking a step back to yesterday afternoon, many surprises at Churchill Downs, at least as far as the Breeders' Cup races went. Congratulations to all the winners, including our own Bulletin for Todd Pletcher. However, that was not the case in the Stronach 5, in which the opening leg out at Santa Anita, Friday's fourth race, in fact, won by a 50-1 shot named Blue Bayou, and that triggered a $51,000 plus Stronach 5 carryover.
Yeah, that'll be next Friday, so make sure you mark that down, and I'll be next Friday afternoon. And I'm still mad at you for not having that horse.
Yeah, wish I had him as well. Did okay with the Mike Maker in the second leg here at Gulfstream. That horse won, paid a little over $16, but we'll fight another day this coming Friday, November 9th. I know there will be post-life following the Breeders' Cup, and do mark that down. Now, a little rundown as to what's on tap. This is Carryover Central today in Miami Gardens on a fast and firm Saturday, November 3rd. In fact, we have a 10-horse field on the dirt starting things out, and they will jumpstart that opening high five with about $1,600 left over in the kitty from yesterday's nightcap. You know, we've got a couple of pick fives on this Breeders' Cup Saturday at GPW, and we're just under 10 large in the Rainbow Six.
Yeah, just about $10,000, and we have both our stakes races inside the Rainbow Six today, so it should be a lot of fun. Those are two great races. We'll be talking about them in a moment, and we end the day, of course, with our final pick five of the afternoon, and that is only a 50-cent wager.
A couple of stakes on the card, too.
Yeah.
We've got one for the boys, one for the gals, and both of them, in fact, big fields on the turf with some familiar names. But it all begins at about 12:20 in about 60 minutes, give or take, with the first of 10 on this Saturday afternoon, our opening weekend in November. And let's try to get lucky in this early pick five. I see a very almost universal single for many people if you're playing the early pick five, and we hope you are, in race number 4. How about Gilberto Zerpa's horse, the number 3? She nailed it.
Yeah, well, exactly. A perfect name, because it looks like she'll nail it in that spot today. Good stat on what he's doing with that horse. Certainly the one to beat.
Flipping your pocket program real fast, what price is she on the morning line? I'm just kind of curious because it looks, again, like she is going to be a prohibitive favorite there in race number 4. 7-5. So Jay's got her very short. And I'll tell you, as far as the undercard races go, my friend, I really like today's second race quite a bit. That looks like a nice little promising cast of 2-year-old maiden special weight runners.
Yeah, we'll see. I really like that race this afternoon, and I went with the 3 and 4, and you got 3 and 5, and you got the 3 and 4 right up there.
Absolutely. I got a second-time starter by Uncle Mo in the mix. 8 years removed from his electrifying win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile back in 2010. So we begin that opening high five carryover of about $1,600, and the early pick five. They all get underway in this 2 lifetime 6250 claiming opener on the fast main track at 5.5 furlongs. I'm outside with the 10 Pegasol, and you and I kind of in the same zip code here. I know you're taking Gone Fishing on a day you're not fishing. You're at the track.
Well, what I liked about Gone Fishing is dropping to the $62,500 level on the main track after back-to-back fourth-place finishes against better sprinting on the turf. But here's the record. If you look at this horse's record on the main track, 4 starts, a win, a second, 2/3. I just thought this horse does its best work on the dirt. I could understand having old buddy Pegasol on the outside for Terry Pompey. And before Jason talks about it, I'll show you a stat with Terry Pompey. Found this really intriguing. Maiden winner last out, all levels on the dirt. Amazing. 10 for 29, 34%, 52% in the money, and a positive return of investment, $4.43. Can I switch my pick now?
You can. I'll let you on board. You can jump on the Terry Pompey bandwagon, and Terry's really had about as good a second half a season here in South Florida as any trainer I can think of, batting about 35% over the last 3 months with close to 10 victories. And a good Saturday. We saw the birds chowing down out on the infield here at Gulfstream Park West. It's a good Saturday just to tailgate and enjoy life here on Breeders' Cup Day, and clearly this Animal Kingdom playing part in that. We move on to race number 2. We bring on a cast of 2-year-old maiden special weight runners on the main track at 6.5 furlongs, and a race, and maybe no surprise considering these are juveniles, but it's a race dominated by well-connected, lightly raced runners. And in fact, I'm going second-time starters all the way with the 4 Forever Mo, who took money and just got tired after chasing early, and your top pick, the 3 Country Singer, who had a comparable trip and ran a little faster in terms of the speed figure this one got.
Yeah, stretching out to 6.5 furlongs after. I thought a promising debut at 3/4 of a mile, which he pressed the pace. He finished 4th. It's Ralph Nix, got leading jock Edgar Zayas. You're talking about Forever Mo from Antonio Santos-Bonner. You know he's got Gunavera a little later on. Let's show you a stat with him. 2-year-olds making their second career start. Maiden special weight just here at Gulfstream Park West. He's 3 for 7, 43%. He's in the money 71% of the time, and some huge return of investment. He had a bomber there. And that's just at Gulfstream Park West. I wanted to see what he did here. So just a stat, and Forever Mo, I know the Uncle Mo. I didn't have to look at my selections. I know you'd have him on top today.
Yeah, this is the kind of horse I'm just going to take. I love second-time starters in general, and I do think there's something to be said with having a race over a very deep track, and it's rare to see Antonio Sano with his string over at Gulfstream Park. He doesn't have a big string over in Hallandale, but this son of Uncle Mo training at GP, but he does have that all-important race over the track. Let's move on to the 3rd here. We are on the turf for the first time today, fast and firm, and faring as far as the Mercury, just a little better and perhaps quite a bit warmer than our friends in Louisville, Kentucky. We noticed on the Breeders' Cup feed right before our show began, 44 degrees beneath the Twin Spires. It's about high 70s here with no humidity. It really is nice as we get on the turf for the 3rd.
And this race is impossible. I see that we both have the same horse on top, but they're so evenly matched. Big Clue gets the tepid nod for me in this evenly matched field after tracking the pace along the inside before angling out in that race. Finished second, going a mile into 16th. There's Bobby DeBona, Sammy Camacho, return riding assignment, but you got Eccentric Warfare, you got This Land. I think those horses are so even in this race.
They really are. And for me, Ron, off the bat, even with the even in the depth department, I like, at least as starting this race out, the 5 Big Clue and the 6 This Land, because they were right next to one another, and they play part in a very key rematch from a turf race here back towards the end of last month. We've also got, who's the number 9 horse, Eccentric Warfare, second time this meet, and we loved him in his GPW debut for Mike Maker. He looked like he'd be lone speed, looked like he'd be a short price, and he just got a little tired.
Yeah, he's looking to get back to the winner's circle after his 2-race win streak ended when he finished 4th in his local debut. I think he's sitting on a really good performance. He's a lightly lately raced son of Data Link, and he getting Antonio Gallardo in here, and he's an excellent rider. So I had to use that horse on my ticket in second, actually, today.
Yeah, Gallardo and Maker teaming up to pay over $16 in leg B yesterday, the second race in the carryover Stronach 5. Fourth on the day, back on the main, Philly-A-Mare, 3-up, 62.50 claimers. And needless to say, this race might not need, if things go according to the way they shake out on paper, this race won't need a lengthy dissertation. That is because of the Zerpa Jaramillo piece in the race. The Corfu filly, she nailed it, who just off her last is just faster than these.
Turning back to 6 furlongs today, she dual Felice just got nailed at the wire, beaten ahead as the favorite going 2 turns. Let's show you the stat I was alluding to. She nailed it. Gilberto Zerpa, he's route to a sprint in the claimers on the dirt. He's 7 for 16, 44%. He's in the money 63% of the time, 290 return of investment. But this horse, even before the stat, was absolutely the one to beat in that particular race.
All right, that's the first 4. We do have a Rainbow 6 coming up. And for the second consecutive card, my friend, there were no jackpot winners, no singles, in fact, heading into that Friday night cap. Ronnie will have his ticket. We'll talk some Breeders' Cup, whole lot more coming your way after this.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
The Fall Turf Festival is underway at Gulfstream Park West. Mark your calendars, because on Saturday, November 10th, Gulfstream will be offering 8 stakes for Florida breds, 3 on the turf, totaling $600,000. There will be 4 races for 2-year-olds, many with aspirations of competing in the winter and spring classics. Don't forget, you can watch and wager on Gulfstream Park West races in our world-class Silks Simulcast Center, located on the first floor at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Join us at Gulfstream Park and Gulfstream Park West on Saturday, November 10th.
Yeah, week out from the big day. I feel like, Ronnie, we've been having almost a daily countdown because I can't help myself. I get excited about the game, and feels like over the last couple of weeks we've been saying, all right, let's get through the Breeders' Cup, and then we'll have our day in the sun. So a little Stronach 5 carryover the day before, and then Saturday is the real blockbuster card of the fall.
Yeah, over, as you saw, $600,000 in purses. Should be a great day of racing, and we got the Stronach 5 the day before. So Breeders' Cup is over. We're just getting warmed up here in South Florida.
Indeed we are, and let's try to take down this Breeders' Cup Day Rainbow 6. What are we doing?
Well, I got a $43.20 ticket, and the reason I was shaking my head a little bit, I wish I could go deeper in this first leg. I used White Sock Wolf and La Bamba, but I just wanted to keep my ticket affordable. I really like Sister Sunday in the next race, or DeSella Shiraz, along with Go Noni Go. And my long shot today comes in race number 8, the Showing Up, and that's Renaissance Frolic. Going to try and make it 2 in a row, return from the layoff. I just see a ton of speed in this race, and I had to put this horse on top of my ticket. Now, you got some really nice horses in this race. Going to try and, I don't know what it is, I think 12-1 in the morning line or something like that, 10-1. Just saw it as a trip horse in there. $43.20 for me.
Yeah, it's funny. David Falk's very dangerous in both stakes today for the Colts and the Phillies on the turf. And he's got American Frolic in the Cellar Shiraz in the 6th, and then Renaissance Frolic in the 8th race coming out of the local prep over at Gulfstream Park for this race today. The Showing Up, named, of course, after a very good horse a few years back for Barclay Tag. But again, it all begins on the dirt in the Saturday 5th, a $10,000 claiming race in which you and I have the quite simply the horse to beat in La Bamba, who's going out for Terry Pompey. Today, it's supposed to be go time. I mean, this horse is supposed to, if he can run, he's supposed to beat this field.
Dropping it to 10 level. They're going to race without the blinkers this afternoon. First starts in Showing Speed and Fading. That was against 20 maidens at Gulfstream. Joran Orgnes, Terry, Miguel Vasquez atop, the son of First Dude. And like I said, I have that one, and I also used the 7 White Sock Wolf on my Rainbow 6 ticket. Drop it to the bottom of the dirt. He returned from a layoff. He stalked. He faded in that race. That was a 2-turn mile on the turf. I thought maybe this was a better better spot for this horse.
Yeah, he's dangerous on the drop, no question about it. As we move on to race number 6, things really start to pick up in the intensity department as we hit the opening of our Breeders' Cup Day Stakes at GPW. 6th race not only is the opening stake, it is the first leg in this late pick 5. And clearly, I think the biggest key, pre-sequence key going in is the fact that you have got 2 legitimately, I'd say grade 3 to be fair. I mean, these are ungraded races that could easily pass for a pair of grade 3s playing part in this late pick 5. And my single, in fact, I like Peter Walder, who picked up a win yesterday with the 6 Dash a Dazzle, who's coming right back. I think historically that is the kind of horse that Walder excels with. A pretty tough claimer who's got some speed. He's really good with those lower level claiming types.
Yeah, that horse has been claimed more than my watch at the pawn shop, for sure.
Right.
Just everybody likes that horse. So he's a logical choice, and I tried to beat it with she read my text, excuse me. But I think that's a logical and good single for you.
All right, moving on to the 6th race, our opening stake. Again, 3-year-old fillies in the $75,000 Sellers Shiraz. We had 12 enter the field, in fact, as far as when this race was drawn a few days back. In the body, anyway, we did lose the 10 and the 11 as far as scratches go. And we'll get on to our first replay. And I'm curious to see, because she's not favored. She's second choice on the line, but boy, I thought the 7 Sister Sunday off a race will bring you from Belmont Park up in the Big Apple on October 8th. I thought off this fast figure win, she would go favorite as she makes her South Florida debut here for trainer Christophe Clement. Speed is normally good on this inner turf, but there's no denying she ran fast and was just a dominating winner.
And that was a softened Belmont turf, listed as good that afternoon. That was a mile into 16, turning back to a mile. This is my type of horse, and got it right on top. Sister Sunday, and there you see, just cruising to the wire. But boy, Go Noni Go is a horse you really have to pay attention to. That horse has got a lot of back class.
Well, she's walked the walk, I feel. You know, Sister Sunday is starting to put things together and starting to get good and hopefully ascend, if you like her today, as she steps up in class. But as far as who's got the more or the most high-profile races, I don't think it's debatable. I mean, Go Noni Go, the 2, my pick, was good down here last winter, and she really didn't miss a beat running in just nonstop stakes throughout the season.
Yeah, and she's going to look to flaunt her speed in this spot. I mean, her class in this spot. In the first start, she disputed the pace, faded, but that was behind that really nice repeat winner, Rushing Falls. That was in the 9 furlong grade 2 Lake Placid. That was like a bog-like day at Saratoga. So this horse, I absolutely the one to beat in here. I like Sister Sunday, put it on top, but as far as class, and this is the horse to beat.
There is some speed posted inside. If there is a contested pace and things break the right way, the 9 American Frolic has got a chance here, and she's actually dropping out of a race that we have to show you, and it must be discussed because 5 horses that entered this race ran in the quote-unquote local prep for the Sellers Shiraz back in mid-September over at Gulfstream Park. This was a race, do keep in mind, that was delayed about 10 minutes. A horse really acted up badly in the gate. All the riders hopped off their horses, but American Frolic was no worse for the wear. And she beat a pretty good horse at Midnight Soiree, who's been solid on the turf for Lisa Lewis. They go fast early. She's the one they're going to have to fear from the back of the pack.
And that's almost a carbon copy of what I want Mr. Fawkes' horse to do in race number 8. So if it's speedy up front, American Frolic's got to be on your ticket.
All right, late pick 5 single for me coming up in the next race, Saturday 7th. As we head to the dirt, we bring on the 6250 low-level claimers, and a horse who, as Ronnie was saying, seemingly has gotten claimed every time somebody has led this horse over in 2018. It's remarkable, and he has, no matter who's sent him out, who's put the tack on him, he has just continued to run consistently well, including a victory last time out on October 6th. And that is another sort of key race we'll not only show you, we'll talk about, because 4 of these horses who were in the wake, and Dash a Dazzle never had a breather here at GPW, battled for the lead throughout, never had a time to really just get in a groove, but he was still able to defeat a total of 3 horses that will face him today. like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. This is the kind of horse that Peter Walder excels with.
And that's why this horse gets claimed all the time. You could just see he's got that, he just runs well at this level. He's a hard knock. You see he finally draws away at the end to win it. So I just thought he's a major player. But it did go a little different way with the number one, She Read My Text. Departs from the rail after breaking from an outside post. That was post 10. Dueling for the lead and then yielding late to finish third. It was 75 claimers going 6 furlongs. It was at Keeneland. It's Dane Kabisky, MSCL Jaramillo. So a speedy gelding. I just went with the speed play in there. See if maybe this new face can upset the Dash of Dazzle. Will probably get claimed again.
Good litmus test, though. Litmus test, that is, for the one, She Read My Text. I feel like, as a whole, we don't see many low-level dirt claimers from Keeneland, from Kentucky, this time of the year here at GPW. I mean, off the top of your head, this kind of horse, do they fit well running at or near the bottom?
You're absolutely right. You don't see it. And for a bunch of years, they had the, what do we call it, synthetic surface over there. So you really couldn't put a number on them. I just think it's more Dane Kabisky than it is the horse and the speed.
Yeah, you get a horse who might just be a little faster than the others early with the Misael from that inside post. All right, the second main event, co-feature on the afternoon, is our upcoming $75,000 Showing Up, named for a terrific horse who ran over a decade ago, and in fact, a multiple graded stakes winner, including this score in the Grade 1 Secretariat, as we head back to Arlington Park in the summer of 2006.
Has drawn to within 4 of Showing Up, and Niagara Causeway go between his drop back tamely as they turn for home. Showing Up corners for home in front in the final furlong and a half at Arlington Park, and it's Showing Up. Showing Up is in front. Ivan Denisovich takes second. Pradinsky is third. Primary fourth. They're deep in the final furlong. Showing Up 2 lengths in front of Ivan Denisovich, running hard, but Ivan Denisovich won't change the outcome. Showing Up over the $1 million earnings mark.
Owned by Lyell Stables, who at the same time earlier that year had Barbaro as well. They were the same age, Showing Up and Barbaro in the same crop. And although Showing Up would really, I think, hit his best stride as a turf horse, he did win a couple of dirt races in the wintertime at Gulfstream Park to start his career.
Yeah, really nice horse. And that was an impressive performance there. He just shook away from the field, so aptly named for a good race this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Dooley, by the way, our good buddy, a native of Staten Island up in the Big Apple, with the call back in the 2006 Secretariat. So a lot going on, Ronnie, in this upcoming $75,000 Showing Up, including another 4-horse rematch from a race late in September, late in the summer meet over at Gulfstream Park, and Renaissance Frolic is your price play today. Is this horse your long shot as we check out his Bears Den win? And in very similar fashion, we've also got Gemontier, who's in the black, vying for the lead, highlighted. I thought he ran exceptionally well in this race because he had a brutal post and never quit running at all. But I think you might be onto something here with the big closing Renaissance Frolic.
And that was my thought process. Closes here to win the Bears Den, and really a game rally in that race. I think he just sits the trip behind the stakes quality speed in this field, and the horse you have on top is one of those horses I think is going to be prominently placed, and that is Gidou. Gidou, I think it's pronounced. And I just see speed. I see this, and David Fawkes. Every time these big days come, he always pops at one, and that's my thought process today.
Well, what'd he win? I think the day Renaissance Frolic won, or American Frolic won, what'd he win? 3 stakes or something like that?
Yeah,
4 races, 3 stakes? I mean, really had a huge, huge exclamation point type recap to the summer meet, and your point is well taken. I mean, he is one of the more high-profile year-round names here based in South Florida. We like the work that David does. We also like, of course, the work Todd Pletcher has done over the years. That goes without saying. And if you want potentially, I'm hoping, Ronnie, the speed of the speed in Gidou, who you talk about go Noni go, leaving Florida after last winter and running in some high-profile stakes. I mean, this horse has run against better consistently since last winter.
And Grade 3 stakes place at a mile, and this is a son of Frankel who, he's going to stretch out. He prompted the pace, and tired to finish a distant 5th, but that was in the 6 furlong turf, Belmont Turf Sprint. I just think this horse is absolutely the class of the field, but I wanted to ask you about a horse in here after Gidou, and that is Apostle. Apostle going on the turf after those back-to-back victories. I'll show you a stat on Ada Police Jr. Dirt to turf, 3-year-olds, all levels. He's 14 for 85, 16%, 39% in the money. $1.30 return investment. You know much more about breeding than I do. What do you think of the chances? I mean, I don't know what to do with this horse is the question.
Aesthetically, I really think this horse may like the turf. Looking at the Medaglia d'Oro, who, I mean, is just world class, and even the AP Indy influence, things got a little murkier, though, when I went back and started looking at the family, and he's out of, again, he's got blue blood for days, and hence the $900K they paid for him. There are 6 siblings of his, though, that have tried the turf, and they are a combined 0 for 12. So who knows? That might not mean anything. He's got some talent, but I was a little put off seeing that nobody in his immediate family, with a half a dozen siblings out of his dam, none of them have won on the turf before.
And that's why I was, deferring to you, because I just didn't know what to do with this horse. Last year, in his debut that he didn't win at Gulfstream Park, he was the talk of the town. Everybody was waiting for this horse to run. Did not win, but it looks like he's finally figured it out. He's got those back-to-back victories. So I threw him on the ticket, but that's good to know about that. And then he's just okay with horses going from dirt to turf.
Real X factor, and it's cool seeing him in that race today, because they'll really get a sense of whether he can hack it against good horses on the turf, because the Showing Up and the Seller Shiraz, again, both really came up, I'd say, grade 3-ish stakes this afternoon on this Breeders' Cup Day at GPW. Race 9 will bring down the curtain on the main track. Our last dirt race is a 3 lifetime 6250 claimer. I am speed, I am drop downs, and I am quite simply looking for the number 2 Northern, who has fallen apart but is taking a big plummet here for a very shrewd barn. Right to the point and never looking back.
Well, we'll see how that, we're going to turf to dirt, so we'll see how that horse does today. But I did go with Ekglass, who's dropping a notch. Claimer Skill, he surrendered that late 2-length lead to finish second. It was 8-2 Claimers at the distance. Shim has been knocking on the door. Going to go back and look at you, too. I got him in 4th. I just wasn't sure that he could run with 9 Ekglass. We'll see how that works out.
His form is terrible. It is. It's bad. I admit that. He has gone way, way, way off form. But, again, that drop to 62.50 at times has a funny way of waking horses up. Now, Antonio Sano has got a couple of live contenders today. You just picked him with Ekglass. I've got him with his Uncle Mo 2-year-old in the second. I thought Antonio was almost a mortal lock to win the last race today with the rail horse and Wicked Boy. That horse, however, is a scratch. That may open up this race to an extent, although, to be fair, Dilutum almost ran too well to lose in that race last time at GPW.
Yeah, cutting back to 7.5 furlongs if they're shipping it from Delaware. Just lost by this much of a nose. It defeated this level of competition. That was going a mile into 16. Baltazar Galvan had Antonio Gallardo in the saddle. He's a leader. Copper Vessel on my ticket. I was going to almost single, or use just the 1 and 9 in the last. And I ended up going 3 deep in my Rainbow Six because the race is wide open. And by the way, you see the 14 gets in. I just threw that horse and didn't run badly. So we'll see if that horse can handle getting in off the also eligibles with those scratches in the race.
No, for Chad Summers, who was sending out. Do you give Mind Your Biscuits a chance in the Classic?
I give him a chance to hit the board.
Yeah.
I'm just that race. I just went back and looked at it a little earlier today, and I'm going West Coast.
Oh, I was going to say, I got my horse, and if there's one trainer, you give me one trainer in the contemporary age, maybe of all time, who you say, all right, you got one big race on the dirt, career defining, all the chips on the table, leaving it all on the racetrack. Who do you want? I want Baffert, and I feel as though with that prep race against Accelerate, if West Coast can still run to what he once was, he's the best horse in the Classic.
That's the way I saw it, and I think he's just going to move forward off that last race, a grade 1, 7. And basically, because it's Baffert, I kept looking and looking, but I'm rooting for Gunavera, maybe to spring the upset there, because the old hometown advantage there. I hope the horse gets it done. We'll see if Gunavera can do it. But Gunavera will be on the board along with Mind Your Biscuits. They just might be behind West Coast if my handicapping is right.
That sounds like some Nicoletti superfectas to me here in the 35th Breeders' Cup Classic, as they are getting closer to the Philly Mare Sprint. In fact, 15 minutes out over at Churchill Downs. Here, a little longer, 29 on the clock before we start the first of 10. And how about a little Gabe Pruitt filling in for track announcer Pete Aiella this afternoon? It almost sounds like we could be maybe Pruitt and Blewett, first or second cousins, and our man Gabe is coming up next with those scratches and changes.
One of the world's most anticipated thoroughbred racing events of the year returns. The 3rd annual Pegasus World Cup Invitational at Gulfstream Park in South Florida. Drawing competition from around the world with a $16 million purse split between 2 Grade 1 races. On the dirt and on the turf. Experience the incredible fashion, spectacular world-class service and entertainment, and the unrivaled adrenaline of the Pegasus World Cup Invitational. Saturday, January 26th at Gulfstream Park. Get your tickets now at PegasusWorldCup.com.